Silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's the presence of truth. In a world full of opinions, distractions, and endless talking, silence has become a lost art. But when you choose to be silent, something incredible happens. You begin to hear yourself. The chaos outside quiets down, and the voice within starts to speak. That voice is your intuition, your natural guide to clarity, peace, and purpose. Every day, we drown ourselves in noise. We scroll through social media, engage in unnecessary conversations, and react to every situation immediately. But silence teaches patience. It reminds you that not every thought needs to be shared, not every situation requires a response, and not every opinion deserves your energy. When you step back and let things unfold, life starts to organize itself naturally. You no longer chase clarity, it comes to you. Silence clears your mental fog. When your mind is busy, even small problems feel huge. But when you slow down, sit quietly, and let your thoughts breathe, solutions begin to rise from the stillness. You start to see what's worth your attention and what isn't. This clarity can't be found in constant motion. It's born in calmness. That's why some of the most peaceful and wise people are also the quietest ones. They know that truth doesn't need to shout, it only needs to be heard. Think about nature. It's silent, yet powerful. Mountains don't speak, yet they inspire. Rivers don't argue, yet they move everything in their path. Silence has a rhythm, a balance, a natural flow that aligns perfectly with life itself. When you embrace that rhythm, everything that belongs to you starts to move toward you effortlessly. You don't have to force outcomes when you are in tune with your inner calm. The right thoughts, the right people, and the right moments begin to align themselves because you've created space for them to exist. Silence also helps you see through illusion. When you're constantly reacting, your emotions cloud your judgment. But when you stay still, you can see people's intentions, your own fears, and the truth of situations more clearly. You begin to understand that peace is not something you find outside, it's something you create inside. Silence gives you the strength to observe without absorbing, to listen without losing yourself, and to respond only when necessary. Most people fear silence because it confronts them with their own thoughts. But that's exactly where transformation begins. The moment you stop running from yourself and simply sit with your silence, you begin to heal. The noise of the world fades, and what remains is your authentic voice, the one that knows your worth, your purpose, and your direction. When you live in silence, you begin to realize that not everything needs to be understood immediately. Life unfolds in its own time. The more you let go of control, the more clarity you gain. Silence teaches trust, trust in the process, trust in yourself, and trust in timing. So stay silent, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to wait. Don't rush for answers. They'll come naturally when your heart is ready. In silence, you stop chasing clarity, you become it. The world may be loud, but your peace doesn't have to be. The quieter you become, the clearer you'll realize you don't need to control everything. You just need to control yourself. In the rush of everyday life, people are constantly chasing something, success, approval, love, or meaning. But in that noise, most of them forget that true direction comes not from movement, but from stillness. When you slow down and allow silence to settle, you reconnect with yourself. You start hearing the quiet voice within, the one that's always known your path, but got buried under distractions, fear, and overthinking. Stillness doesn't just calm you, it realigns you with your purpose. When you're constantly moving, reacting, and talking, your inner voice gets drowned out by the noise of the world. You end up following what others expect instead of what your soul truly wants. But the moment you stop and embrace silence, clarity begins to emerge naturally. You start to realize what truly fulfills you, what drains you, and what aligns with your spirit. That's the gift of stillness. It gives you the space to listen to yourself again. Your purpose doesn't appear when you're restless. It appears when you're quiet enough to hear it. The universe speaks in whispers, not in noise. That's why people who meditate, reflect, or spend time in solitude often seem more centered. They've learned to tune in to that whisper. They've stopped chasing direction and started allowing direction to come to them. Stillness connects you to purpose because it removes the layers of confusion. It silences the outside world's opinions so you can feel your own truth. You start realizing that your purpose isn't found in pleasing others, proving yourself, or rushing toward goals. It's found in understanding what brings you peace, passion, and meaning. And that understanding only arrives when your mind is still. When you practice stillness, you stop forcing life. You let things flow instead of trying to control every outcome. This surrender isn't giving up. It's trusting that life has its own rhythm. You stop asking, when will it happen? And start believing it will happen when it's meant to. That faith removes anxiety, and in its place, peace begins to grow. Stillness also sharpens intuition. When your mind isn't cluttered with endless thoughts, you can sense what feels right and what doesn't. You can feel which people align with your energy and which paths deserve your focus. That intuition becomes your compass, quiet but accurate. It's the natural guidance system that silence helps you access. Being still doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing things with awareness and calm. It means walking with intention, speaking with purpose, and acting from inner peace. The people who move through life from stillness don't rush, yet they always seem to arrive on time. That's because they've learned the secret. When you align with yourself, life aligns with you. In stillness, your soul starts to lead and your mind begins to follow. The confusion fades. The pressure lessens. You no longer chase what's meant for you. It starts finding its way toward you. Because the truth is, your purpose doesn't need to be searched for outside of you. It's been inside you all along. Silence is just the key that unlocks it. So be still. Let go of the noise, the hurry, and the need to control. When you rest in silence, you'll feel life gently guiding you toward what's meant to be. Your purpose isn't something you force. It's something you remember in the quiet. In a noisy world where everyone is trying to be seen and heard, silence has become a rare form of power. People think respect is earned through talking louder, arguing better, or showing off more. But that's not true. Real respect is born from presence, not noise. When you learn to stay silent, when you stop rushing to explain or defend yourself, you begin to command attention in a quiet, effortless way. Silence makes people curious. It creates space for others to notice you, to wonder what you're thinking, and to pay attention to your energy. You don't need to constantly speak to be understood. Sometimes your stillness speaks volumes. When you remain calm and composed, you send out a message stronger than words that you're in control of yourself. People respect those who can master their emotions because very few can. Think about the people you naturally respect, mentors, leaders, or even quiet individuals who rarely speak unless necessary. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's discipline. They've learned that words lose power when overused. Every time they speak, their words carry meaning because they don't waste them. Their presence commands respect because their energy feels intentional, calm, and confident. Silence also helps you maintain dignity during conflict. When someone insults or challenges you, the natural instinct is to defend yourself to prove them wrong. But when you stay silent, you disarm them completely. Your calmness shows that their opinion holds no power over you. You're not ignoring them out of fear. You're showing that their chaos doesn't deserve your peace. That kind of restraint is true strength. It's emotional mastery. It's how wise people win without fighting. Another reason silence builds respect is that it protects your mystery. When people know everything about you, what you think, what you plan, how you feel, they stop being intrigued. But when you speak less, you become unpredictable. That unpredictability creates authority. People pay more attention because they don't know what's coming next. It's the same reason why some of the most influential individuals in history didn't talk constantly. They allowed their silence to build anticipation, and their presence did the rest. In professional and personal spaces alike, silence enhances your presence. When you walk into a room with quiet confidence, people notice. You don't have to announce yourself or fight for attention. Your energy does it for you. Presence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being the calmest one. When your silence carries peace instead of insecurity, you stand out naturally. Silence also deepens your awareness. When you're quiet, you notice more people's tone, their motives, the truth behind their words. You see the full picture because you're not distracted by your own talking. That awareness makes you wiser in how you respond, what you share, and who you trust. Over time, people begin to realize that your silence isn't weakness, it's intelligence. You know when to speak, and you know when silence says more. But the most beautiful thing about silence is that it aligns with self-respect. When you stay silent in moments where you could argue, gossip, or seek validation, you're choosing peace over pettiness. You're saying, my energy is too valuable to waste. And that statement, though unspoken, is always felt. Respect doesn't come from noise. It comes from knowing your worth and refusing to lower your energy to prove it. Silence gives you that power. It allows you to move with grace, confidence, and mystery. It teaches you that you don't need to fight for respect. You simply need to embody it. Because in the end, the quietest person in the room often carries the loudest presence. There's a beautiful truth about silence that many people overlook. When you stop trying to control everything, life starts working for you. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it's the presence of trust. It's the moment when you stop forcing outcomes and start believing that what's meant for you will find its way naturally and effortlessly. When you practice silence, you align yourself with the natural rhythm of life, and everything begins to flow in harmony. Most of the time, people struggle because they talk, plan, and push too much. They keep asking, why hasn't it happened yet? Or, what should I do next? But silence teaches patience, and patience is where growth happens. The universe doesn't respond to noise, it responds to energy. When your energy is calm, trusting, and silent, you become a magnet for everything that's right for you. Silence allows divine timing to unfold. It's in those quiet moments when you stop chasing and start observing that doors begin to open. People, opportunities, and answers start appearing in ways you couldn't have planned. That's the magic of alignment. When you're no longer fighting the current, you begin to float with it. Life becomes smoother, lighter, and more meaningful. Think about how nature operates. It never rushes, yet everything gets done. Flowers bloom when they're ready, rivers flow at their own pace, and the sun rises exactly on time. You never hear nature shouting or hurrying, and yet it thrives. Silence works the same way in your life. When you stop overthinking and start trusting, you align yourself with that same natural intelligence. Things begin to happen without struggle, and what's not meant for you simply fades away. Silence also creates space for blessings to reach you. When your mind is loud with anxiety, complaints, or constant planning, There's no room for new energy to enter. But when you become quiet, when you learn to listen instead of react, you make space for miracles. You start to sense that everything that happens, even the delays or detours, has a purpose. You realize that nothing is truly lost when you're aligned. It's only being rearranged to serve your higher path. When you stay silent, you also develop a deep sense of gratitude. You start noticing the little signs, the synchronicities, the small wins that remind you you're on the right track. And that gratitude strengthens your connection to life's flow. You no longer feel desperate for things to happen because you trust they already are, in ways unseen. Silence turns your energy from frantic to magnetic. It changes how you move, how you speak, and how you attract. Instead of chasing validation or outcomes, you begin to embody peace, and peace draws everything you've ever wanted. The more you relax into stillness, the more aligned you become with the timing of your destiny. So don't rush, don't explain, don't fight for what's already yours. Be silent, observe, trust. Let life unfold on its own divine schedule. When you're still, when your heart is calm, you'll see that everything you desire begins to come to you, not because you chased it, but because you were finally quiet enough to receive it. In the end, silence is not emptiness, it's power, wisdom, and alignment. The world may try to convince you that you need to speak louder, move faster, or prove your worth. But the truth is the strongest souls are often the quietest ones. When you stop explaining yourself, stop chasing what's not meant for you, and stop reacting to every noise around you, you enter a state of calm that very few ever reach. In that calm, you find clarity. You begin to see what truly matters: peace, presence, and purpose. Silence teaches you patience, and patience brings transformation. It helps you rise above drama, confusion, and chaos. It reminds you that you don't need to control everything. You just need to trust the timing of your life. Stay silent, stay grounded. Let life come to you instead of forcing it. Because when you master silence, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, the entire universe quietly rearranges itself to meet you where you are.